13:47 hours GMT, February 9, 2026. Two Russian Tu-95 MS Bears have just materialized on NATO radar screens. Their turboprop signatures unmistakable as they trace a deliberate course toward the Greenland-Iceland-UK gap. The Russians aren't attempting stealth, they're broadcasting a $400 million Cold War message on international frequencies. While Arctic resource claims remain contested, the northern approaches belong to Moscow. But instead of catching NATO off guard, they've flown directly into an integrated air defense network so comprehensive, the Russian crews have no idea their entire flight profile has been mapped since wheels up from Engels Air Base. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. Now, let's get started. The North Atlantic used to be NATO's quiet backwater, a forgotten theater where aging bombers posed for reconnaissance photos and everyone went home. But the strategic geography has transformed. With melting ice caps exposing trillion-dollar mineral deposits and new shipping lanes, this former Cold War relic route has become a contested battlefield. Every vibration of their contra-rotating propellers, every radar pulse from their 1980s-era avionics is being absorbed by a Western sensor grid that never blinks. As the Bears cross the Norwegian Sea, they're paradoxically advertising their presence to the world, civilian flight trackers and military networks alike showing two 100-ton relics flying at 400 knots. Normally, these nuclear-capable platforms operate in radio silence, but today, the Kremlin wants visibility. This is theater. By staying on open channels, the Russian air crews are essentially announcing their arrival with a bullhorn, waiting to see if NATO still guards its northern frontier. At 13:47 hours GMT, the first electronic whisper arrives at NATO's Air Surveillance and Control System headquarters in Udom, Germany. Two massive turboprop signatures lifting off from Olynya Air Base on Russia's Kola Peninsula, their contra-rotating propellers generating acoustic signatures that haven't changed since 1956. The duty officer watches the data link feeds populate with telemetry, airspeed climbing through 250 knots, altitude passing 15,000 feet, transponders active and squawking on international frequencies like they want the entire world watching. These aren't shadows trying to penetrate undetected. These are 100-ton announcements wrapped in aluminum and Cold War nostalgia. The Bears bank westward over the Barents Sea, their flight path plotting a geometry that will intersect the Norwegian Sea in 72 minutes and bring them within 40 nautical miles of NATO airspace 18 minutes after that. The course is too precise to be coincidental, too provocative to be routine training. Intelligence analysts cross-reference the departure time with known Russian exercise schedules and find nothing. This is an unannounced sortie flying a profile designed for maximum political impact. Within the cockpits, Russian crews maintain radio discipline, while their aircraft scream their digital identity to every radar station from Murmansk to Scotland. They believe they are controlling the narrative, choosing when and where to reveal themselves. They have no idea NATO's been watching since the ground crews began fueling operations 4 hours ago. The alert didn't begin at 13:47 hours GMT. It began at 9:20 hours GMT when an American KH-11 reconnaissance satellite passing over the Kola Peninsula detected thermal blooms at Olenya's alert parking apron, the infrared signature of auxiliary power units spinning up on two Tu-95 MS airframes. The data flowed automatically into NATO's Combined Air Operations Center, where algorithms compared the activity against baseline patterns and flagged the anomaly for human review. By 1100 hours GMT, Norwegian intelligence officers at Vardø radar station confirmed increased VHF radio traffic on known Russian Air Force frequencies. By 12:30 hours GMT, a U.S. Navy P-8 Poseidon operating over the Norwegian Sea adjusted its patrol route to position sensors along the most likely egret corridor. When the Bears finally lifted off at 13:47, NATO wasn't reacting, it was confirming. The Integrated Air Defense Network had already constructed a probabilistic flight path, calculated intercept geometries, and pre-positioned tanker support for the fighters that would inevitably scramble. At RAF Lakenheath, 2 F-22 Raptors sitting Alert 5 status received preliminary notifications to prepare for launch authorization. At Bodo Air Base in northern Norway, F-35 pilots reviewed intercept procedures, while ground crews topped off fuel tanks. The machinery of deterrence was already in motion, moving with the choreographed precision of an alliance that had rehearsed this scenario 100 times. The Russians were flying their provocation. NATO was 3 moves ahead. At 14:02 hours, the scramble order transmits simultaneously to 2 air bases separated by 1,200 miles of North Atlantic waters. At RAF Lakenheath in Suffolk, the alert klaxon shatters the ready room silence, and 2 F-22 pilots are sprinting toward their aircraft before the sound stops echoing. Their Raptors sit fueled and armed on the hot pad, engines requiring only 90 seconds from startup to taxi clearance. The lead pilot receives his intercept vector via data link before his canopy even closes. Heading 015, climb to flight level 380, rendezvous with tanker call sign Exxon 62 over the Shetland Islands. 1,300 miles north at Bodo Air Base, Norwegian F-35 pilots are already taxiing when the American authorization comes through, their Lightning IIs rolling toward the runway threshold with weapons pylons empty, but sensors fully capable of turning invisible at the flip of a switch. The tower clears them for immediate departure on runway 07, and within 90 seconds, both aircraft are climbing through broken cloud cover, their AN-APG-81 radars already painting the airspace ahead in crystalline detail. The coordination is seamless, practiced through countless NATO exercises that transform sovereign air forces into synchronized instruments. By 14:08 hours, 4 fifth-generation fighters are converging on intercept geometry calculated by AWACS controllers orbiting 200 miles west. The Russians have 50 minutes of uncontested flight remaining. They don't know the net is already closing. At 28,000 feet over the Norwegian Sea, the E-3 Sentry AWS orbits in a racetrack pattern, its 30-foot rotating radome painting everything within 250 miles in real-time precision. Inside the dimly lit mission compartment, controllers watch the tactical display update every 2 seconds. 2 red tracks representing the Russian Bears pushing west at 420 knots, 4 blue tracks representing NATO fighters converging from different vectors at supersonic cruise. This is geometry translated into survival, angles and altitudes calculated to achieve intercept without provocation, dominance without escalation. The senior controller vectors the Norwegian F-35s onto a northern approach that will position them between the Russian formation and Norwegian territorial waters, a blocking move that says no closer without firing a shot. The American F-22s receive instructions to establish a combat air patrol 60 miles southwest, creating a layered defense that can react to any course deviation. The mathematics are unforgiving. At current speeds, intercept occurs in 14 minutes at a merge point 82 nautical miles from Norwegian airspace. The Russian formation maintains heading 265, neither accelerating nor deviating, their radar emissions steady and predictable. They're testing whether NATO still owns these approaches, whether the alliance can mass forces faster than Moscow can create facts. The AWAC controller watches the tracks converge and keys his radio with clinical precision. Viper flight, target bearing 310, 72 miles, maintain Angels 30. At 14:41 hours, the Norwegian flight lead's helmet-mounted display flashes with a visual acquisition cue, and he rolls his F-35 30 degrees to align his sensors with the contact. Through broken cloud layers at 30,000 feet, the Russian formation materializes. 2 massive turboprops in loose trail formation, their contra-rotating propellers catching winter sunlight like chrome-plated threat indicators. Range, 80 nautical miles from Norwegian territorial waters, close enough that binoculars from coastal towns might catch their contrails, far enough that Moscow can claim innocent passage through international airspace. The Norwegian pilot toggles his radio. Contact visual, 2 bears, heading 265, no escort visible. But his sensors tell a different story. The AN/APG-81 radar is painting 4 additional contacts, Su-35 flankers flying top cover 5,000 feet above the bombers, positioned to bracket any NATO interceptor that gets ambitious. The Russians brought insurance. He eases his Lightning II into a parallel course 2,000 feet above and 3 miles north of the lead bear, close enough that the Russian navigator can see him through his blister window, close enough to send an unmistakable message: "We own this airspace, we've been waiting for you, and your window of opportunity just closed." The turboprops drone onward, massive and obsolete and terrifyingly capable, carrying enough firepower to rewrite geography while flying a profile designed purely for intimidation. The Russian Su-35s make their move at 14:47 hours, and the professional Intercept transforms into something uglier. The lead flanker breaks from formation and executes a descending spiral that positions him 1,000 feet directly above the Norwegian F-35, close enough that his jet wash creates turbulence the Lightning II's fly-by-wire system has to compensate for. His wingman mirrors the maneuver on the opposite flank, creating a 3-dimensional bracket that forces the Norwegian pilot into a tactical box, intercepted by the aircraft he came to intercept. This is the escort game, played at 30,000 feet where mistakes don't allow for second chances. The Russian fighters maneuver aggressively, crossing within 500 feet of the NATO jets in calculated demonstrations of control, each pass saying, "We can touch you whenever we want." The Norwegian wingman reports 2 more flankers maneuvering to bracket the American F-22s approaching from the south, turning the Intercept into an aerial chess match where every move carries the potential for miscalculation. The American flight lead watches his tactical display populate with threat indicators and makes the coldest calculation a fighter pilot can make: hold position or escalate. His F-22 carries weapons the Russians can't defend against, sensors they can't detect, capabilities that could end this confrontation in seconds. But ending it means starting something far worse. He keys his radio with forced calm. Maintain formation discipline, weapons tight. At 14:58 hours, the Norwegian pilot's threat warning system erupts with a tone that every fighter pilot knows viscerally: the steady pulse of a targeting radar achieving lock. His displays flash red as a Russian Su-35 illuminates his F-35 with its Irbis-E fire control radar, the electronic equivalent of pressing a loaded gun against someone's chest. The lock holds for 4 seconds, long enough to be intentional, long enough to cross every unwritten rule governing professional intercepts. The American flight lead doesn't request permission. His F-22 accelerates through Mach 1.2 and positions itself directly between the Norwegian Lightning and the Russian flanker, inserting 20 tons of American airframe as a physical shield, while his own radar remains in passive mode. The geometry is unmistakable. To maintain his lock on the Norwegian jet, the Russian pilot would have to burn through an American aircraft first. The message requires no translation. For 90 seconds, the formation holds this configuration at 400 knots, 5 aircraft locked in a ballet of deterrence, where the slightest miscalculation triggers consequences neither government wants. The AWACS controller's voice cuts through on encrypted frequency. All players maintain current positions, weapons tight, acknowledge. 4 separate acknowledgements crackle back. The Russian lock breaks at 14:59:34 seconds, and the flanker pulls up into a climbing turn. Professional distance returns. The unwritten rules have been tested, reinforced, and survived. While pilots maneuver at visible distances, a second battle unfolds in frequencies the human eye cannot detect. Aboard the E3 Century AWACS, electronic warfare officers watch their spectrum analyzers light up with Russian emissions. The Irbis-E radar's characteristic X-band pulse pattern, the encrypted UHF data links connecting the Su-35s to their ground controllers, the antiquated navigation radar on the Tu-95s still using vacuum tube technology from the Khrushchev era. Every transmission is captured, digitized, and archived for analysis. NATO is building a library of Russian fingerprints that will inform countermeasures for the next decade. The Russians are doing the same. Inside the lead bear's pressurized fuselage, intelligence officers are operating ELINT collection pods that are recording the ANPG-77 radar emissions from the American F-22s, mapping their scan patterns and frequency hopping protocols, searching for exploitable signatures that might compromise stealth in future encounters. They're capturing the encrypted Link 16 data links connecting NATO fighters to their controllers, probing for vulnerabilities in the alliance's information architecture. Neither side is firing weapons, but both are stealing secrets at the speed of light. The Norwegian F-35 deliberately cycles through different radar modes, feeding the Russians false data, while NATO analysts catalog how they react. It's espionage conducted at 30,000 feet, where every electron transmitted is a potential advantage surrendered or gained. At 15:09 hours, the Russian formation executes a coordinated turn so precisely choreographed it can only be following orders from beyond the horizon. The lead Tu-95 banks 30 degrees right onto heading 045, its wingman matching the maneuver with textbook precision, while the Su-35 escorts climb to provide top cover for the withdrawal. To civilian flight trackers, it looks like a routine course correction. To the NATO pilots watching from 3,000 feet away, it's a tactical retreat dressed as operational necessity. The Bears accelerate to 450 knots, their NK-12 turboprops screaming at maximum continuous power as they trace a northeastern arc back toward the Kola Peninsula. The Russian flight lead transmits on international frequencies that they're concluding their training mission and returning to base. Pure theater for the recording devices that both sides know are capturing every word. No acknowledgement of the NATO interceptors. No admission that they were turned back 65 nautical miles short of their probable objective. The American flight lead watches them disappear into the gathering twilight and knows exactly what just happened. The Russians got what they came for. Radar signatures mapped, radar signatures cataloged, proof that NATO still defends its northern approaches with overwhelming force. But so did the alliance. Both sides extracted intelligence worth more than any propaganda victory. He keys his radio. Viper flight, RTB. The mission is complete. Nobody won, nobody lost. The Arctic remains contested.